everyone, my name is Sydney and today we're going to be discussing Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, and I am so excited to talk about this book, this series with you today, because as a teenager I was head over heels in love with Edward Cullen, and it is just so much fun being an adult rereading these books. I have had the funnest time and I can't tell you just how much I've been laughing. I honestly, shamelessly love this story. If you haven't read it, you should. We will get to see whether you're on Team Edward or Team Jacob or Team none of them. I just want to start off by saying yes. My voice is super husky. What's going on there? I am recovering from being sick. I'm feeling a lot better now, but my voice is still not 100%, so apologies in advance. For those of you who don't know what Twilight is about, I don't know how. I want to say around 2006 when this kind of all came out and when the movies all came out. Twilight was huge. We are following Bella and she moves in with her dad Charlie to Forks. Forks is not your normal location. It's always raining, it's always cold. It's not where I would want to be situated personally. She ends up going to a new high school. Within this school she meets Edward. Plot twist, he's a vampire. It's really fun, but I must say Stephanie isn't the best writer. And that's okay. So what sparked this interest in wanting to read these series again? My friend Sarah stayed over a couple weeks ago. We were trying to think of something to watch on Netflix. We immediately saw Twilight. Sarah and I were like, oh my god, I haven't rewatched them in so long. Let's do it. So we had a little marathon where we watched the first and second movie. We couldn't stop laughing, we were quoting it, and we were going in and out of not remembering what happened. Thinking, oh my god, wait, I can't remember. And it was just so much fun. I love being with Sarah and I loved watching these movies with her. After we watched them, I remembered that the series is kept hidden away in my wardrobe and it's time for me to reread them. So here we are today. If you haven't read this book, please go read it, come back and we can talk. For those of you who have read it, let's go into the spoilery section in 3, 2, 1. It's just so fun to be back in school, to be back at that cafeteria table with those guys. And Bella's just sitting there trying to fit in, the new girl that everyone is apparently obsessed with. And then you have the Cullens sitting at a separate table at the cafeteria. And Bella's all like, who are they? It's either Angela or Jessica who's saying, oh, those are the Cullens. And it's just so much fun because the Cullens, they are all vampires. We have the daddy, Carlisle, who I absolutely love. Carlisle is not talked about enough. I think Carlisle is super underrated. I love Daddy Carlisle. Carlisle basically started up this whole family. Carlisle is this good Samaritan who works as a doctor. Back in the day, many years ago, he saved Edward. He was going to die from the influenza, the Spanish influenza. It's very interesting because this family that Carlisle has created, everyone is adopted, everyone has been turned. Renee, who is Carlisle's partner, she's beautiful. We have Alice and Jasper, my favorites. She's super pixie-like, and just every time I would read anything that Alice would say or just about her mannerisms, her movements, I was just head over heels in love. I love Alice so much. Jasper is one of the new additions to the family who is still trying to learn how to contain himself. We have Emmett, Rosalie, the whole gang. So of course Bella is super curious. She's like, who is this family? Gosh, they're so beautiful. Bella is obsessed. I feel really sorry for Bella because she's so insecure, she's so depressed and just obsessed. She is so obsessed, constantly saying, oh, Edward is so beautiful, look at me. And it's just like, believe in yourself, come on. So this is why I feel like I'm more Team Jacob, but I'm also like, Jacob, you can do so much better. This was my other big problem reading this book, that Bella, she leads and uses Jacob so much. It's so sad because Jacob is just this beautiful little puppy. He's basically a little puppy, right? who is warm and happy and filled with life, and then you have this opposition of Edward, who is just the complete opposite, not filled with life at all, who's cold, cool, and just, it's icky. Bella also is just clumsy, hates the sight of blood, doesn't like being cold. So everything is saying, why would you go for this guy? But I guess opposites attract. Edward saves Bella from Tyler being in this car accident, almost hitting Bella, right? And if Edward wasn't there, she would have been squished. And that was the whole thing at the beginning where Bella was like, oh, you're so fast. You were across from me. How did you end up here? Something is going on. As soon as she ends up finding out that Edward is a vampire, she wants to be a vampire. She's willing to give up everything to be a vampire. Bella, don't be dependent on a guy to make you happy. Edward is very quiet, closed off. He's got anger management issues. He's intense and just very too cool for school. He's also so old. He's over 100. It's intense. I feel like these two fell in love so quickly. If I had to choose, I'd be more on Team Jacob's side, which we will discuss soon. There's just so much toxicity. Bella really uses him. So Bella uses him at La Push to find out more about the Cullens, and this is where Jacob goes into this full story about his culture, how they believe in the Cullens being the cold ones. They are enemies. They don't like being around each other. They don't like each other. And Billy, bit about Billy, he hates the Cullens. He doesn't want Bella to be around them. He doesn't like whenever she's around them. And he obviously would prefer Bella to be with Jacob. And then you just have Jacob running around being like, I don't even know what this means, but this is a story that my dad told me. And we have our ancestors that are wolves. And it's just like, boy, how have you not clocked on what this means? And even for Bella, how has she not clocked on what this means about the two of them? One of the funniest scenes in this book is when Bella sits next to Edward. I think it's their biology class, and Edward, it's like he smelled something rotten, but what he has smelt that is rotten is Bella. It's so funny in the movie adaptation, but it is so funny in the book as well, because Edward is so repulsed and Bella's just like sniffing herself like, do I smell bad? Why is he looking at me like that? But of course, Edward just is still learning how to contain himself. After that day of him being repulsed, there's weeks where he's away camping, hiking, which is so strange. How do these kids get away with doing that at school? I don't understand. They come back after weeks of being away and all of a sudden he's all good. Maybe he was just super hungry or something. He wants to eat her. Edward wants to eat her, and in no way is that sexy. Like, Bella, get the fuck out of there, girl. Wash yourself. The scene where they're in the woods and Edward is just so cringe. The way that he showed the meadow, that was beautiful. That was gorgeous. And then he's like trying to scare Bella. He's trying to scare Bella, being like, I'm a vampire, you should be afraid of me. You're not afraid of me? Doing all these fast runs up and down to kind of spook her. It's just so weird. And then you have the whole line of, you're my own personal brand of heroin. Like, so strange but iconic. Whenever he's in the sun, the spotlight, he shines, he glitters like diamonds. It's just so funny. Why does he shine? Like, I'm just trying to think of the logistics of being a vampire stepping into the sun. Wouldn't he just burn up in flames? Stephanie didn't think this one through, but she's definitely trying to encapsulate how Edward vampires are beautiful creatures. Edward is also so stalkerish and overprotective. The way he has been watching Bella sleep. Also the way they kiss. I feel so bad for Bella. She can do so much better. I have to stop because Edward is like, oh, stop, it's too much. I might hurt you. What is the point of being together like this? Bella also says, I love you to Edward first, by the way. It's given ick. Oh my god. And Edward is also constantly sniffing Bella. Like, It's just ick after ick after ick. There are 2 times, I don't know why Stephanie did this, but there are 2 times where Stephanie compares Bella to a baby than a toddler. He leaned forward to pick me up, gripping the tops of my arms like I was a toddler. Ew, why is there this reference? You're not making me love this relationship. If anything, I feel like Charlie, where I'm like, ugh. There was also a scene where Bella, she's crying, and Edward gets his finger, wipes her tear, and then licks it. Boy, what are you doing? You then have the famous baseball scene. Dun, 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 dun. There is thunder, lightning. Bella is just in the background watching, being like, oh my god, they're so fast. And then you have our villains, Laurent, James, and Victoria. The trio. They obviously all smell Bella, because Bella fucking stinks, apparently. They're instantly like, ooh, maybe you can join the next one, and they're just screwed instantly. And Bella, before this game, is like to her dad, I'll be home early. She ends up going home, being a bitch of a teenager, packing all of her clothes, her stuff, saying to Charlie that she's moving back with her mum and she's leaving tonight. I haven't even talked about Charlie yet. He is just wanting the best for his daughter, who is making bad decisions. So the real victim in this story is Charlie. The way that Bella treats him is just so off-putting and repulsive and sad, and Charlie deserves better. Another one who deserves better. They're all driving different cars. They've got different clothing of Bella's, because we have James, who is a tracker. So Bella ends up with Alice and Jasper. They end up going to where her mum lives, but she doesn't think about how her mum would now be in danger. So she thinks about how Charlie would be in danger, but she doesn't think about how now her mum is in danger by going in that direction. She gets a call. You need to come to this address on your own or else your mum gets it, right? Bella, Alice and Jasper, they go to the airport and they're waiting for Edward to arrive. Bella has this plan. She says to Jasper, oh, can you come with me? Oh, do you mind if I quickly go to the toilet? And once she gets to the toilet, she runs, because she's very familiar with the airport, the fact that she would go back and forth to her mum and dad. It makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is how they didn't clock on quick enough that Bella was missing and they didn't catch her in time. I thought that was really interesting, but also, damn Bella, apparently you can outrun vampires. And she ends up going to her mum's house, realizing she has to go to her ballet studio, and that's where she meets James. Of course, it was all a lie, and you're just scared shitless for Bella. I really loved how Alice, she can see the future. She was able to visualize and see this ballet studio, but she wasn't able to see Bella running away at the airport. I guess different things come to her. She's visualizing it and she's just drawing. She must be a very good drawer as well. And they all have different talents, like Jasper is able to alter the mood of a room. And then of course you have Edward, who can read people's minds, but for some reason he can't read Bella's mind. And this irked me so much, because the only reason why Edward at the beginning was interested in Bella was because he couldn't read her. They all miraculously end up at the ballet studio and they save her. But Bella, she gets fully thrown around by James into the mirrors. He breaks her leg and ribs, like it's just so fucked. She ends up in hospital, but she's safe. She's fine. Her mum is fine. That is the beginning of Edward being very logical in his thinking. Because of him being a vampire, he's fully putting Bella in danger. He does make that promise to her though, saying to Bella he promises never to leave her. To be continued. Then you have this whole date planned. He says to Bella, dress up formally, I'm going to take you somewhere, and ends up taking her to their end of year prom. Bella cries, can't believe that Edward would take her to the last place she would want to be seen in, especially wearing like a moon boot and whatnot. Tyler is like out the front being like, oh, Bella, can I take you? Day off. And Edward's just like, fuck off, no. Jacob ends up talking to Bella. Jacob apparently was paid off by his dad in money and in parts to tell Bella that Billy wants her to stay away from Edward. Like, it's just so cringe. Right at the end of this story, Bella says that Edward's breath is soothing. And I'm reading this thinking, that is disgusting. His breath is probably just like animal blood and shit. Like, that's just so fucking gross. Our main girl, Bella, there's something wrong here, isn't there? I love this story, don't get me wrong. I know I'm saying all this stuff, I fucking love it, but something something is so wrong here and it needs to be said. The biggest thing that came up for me was the nostalgia, this love for this story. Also this realization that Bella did Jacob so dirty, and also Charlie is the real victim in this story. That was the biggest thing that I took rereading this book. But it was just so much fun. It made me laugh so much. Past Sid was so in love, like Bella was, with Edward, with this glittery, like, diamonds boy. But now I'm like, I'm more team Jacob and also team nobody. So tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more. I can't wait to discuss more with you. I will see you in my next video. As usual, bye.